What's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of the Debate Mates. I'm Matthew Swanenberg, and I'm honored to be joined today by late night Nate Poplin.
What's up, guys? Late
So,
night Nate, I like the
late
sound of
night
that.
Nate Poplin. If you're wondering why he's called late night Nate Poplin, it's because we are so dedicated to our craft. To We're so dedicated to getting all of our NBA playoff predictions out to the world that we are here. It's about 11 o'clock Eastern time. And then we're going to be filming another segment of this video, probably about 12:30 a.m. Eastern time, Saturday morning, technically, after the Timberwolves Thunder game ends, so we can give you guys all our entire bracket for the NBA playoffs. On Wednesday, I'll be losing track of the days here. We recorded the first half of our playoff previews. We did the 2-7s and the 3-6s in both the Eastern and the Western Conference.
We did it.
And so today, whenever you watch this video, we're going to be hitting you with our 1-8s and our 4-5s. So we'll get started with the Western Conference 4-5.
Without further ado,
My favorite player, Kevin Durant, first playoff series with the Phoenix Suns. What to watch for, X factors, and give me your predictions. Suns, Clippers.
I think this is pretty easy. I got Suns at 5 because even though so basically the direction I went with my X factor is we don't like to go top tier superstar players as X factors,
Right.
but in this series, I think I had to make an exception because Paul George is the X factor, big question mark because we know he's not going to be available to start, but now it's coming out where he might not be available at all, which
right.
changes things and it only makes it easier for this the most incredible trio in the NBA right now to sick their fangs into this Clippers team. So I say so. The Clippers are actually below average on both sides of the ball. The one thing that worries me is there's like two sides of the Clippers. We have a team that looks like they could put up 150 they could put up 150 without hesitation. And then we have the team that struggles to get past 100, and it's just on both sides of the ball. They finished the season below average. Kawhi Leonard, though, I will give him this. He's having a great, ever since February, he started to have a really good, he started to come into his own again. So it's good to see him and kind of do his thing. So he will be, I think, a bit of a pest. That's one thing to look out for. He's going to be a pest no matter what. That's just his game. That's just who he is. So, yes, that will make it harder on players like D-Book and Kevin Durant whenever he switched up on them. But, I mean, this team is 8-0 when Kevin Durant plays.
Yeah.
And I don't see that changing. I mean, I do think somehow, I think maybe two of the three might have a bad game and the Clippers snag one. I think that's very possible. But this could also be an easy sweep, blowout every game for this Suns team.
Wow.
This Suns team, yeah, it's very possible because and it's the Clippers. Unfortunately, the last couple of years when it comes to playoffs, they've been below expectation, below what they should be almost every single time. So yes, he's my X factor. Suns defense is also, I think, one thing we need to look at is they finished sixth in overall defensive rating. So this is a very talented defensive team. And yeah, you have a trio of and like you said, arguably the best starting five in the entire NBA in this series, and they're poised to make a run for the finals. I'm curious to see how you feel about that. Is your boy Kevin Durant? So yeah, that's my take. I have the Suns winning in 5, but again, it could just easily be in 4. But I want to hear what your thoughts on this series are. I'm very curious.
Yeah, you mentioned Kawhi Leonard has been really coming on strong here in the latter
Yeah.
part of the season, averaging 27 on 54% shooting recently
Really good.
to close out the season. And basically, just because of how good he is, I think he can drag the Clippers to one win in this series. I agree with you. I think Suns get this in 5. Surprisingly, what was it? Kenny the Jet Smith, Charles Barkley, and Shaquille O'Neal
All chose. Well, actually, no, Shaq didn't. It was just Kenny and Barkley.
Both
And
picked.
me and you thought we were going crazy.
Yeah,
They just straight
very
up.
surprised. I thought it was sort of universal that people were
Mhm.
picking the Suns, and it seemed like from what I saw and what I was reading, most people were picking Suns in maximum 6, but mostly 5. So I was surprised to see those takes, but nonetheless, what to watch for in this series for me is what wins out, depth or star power. Because the Suns obviously have the top end talent that the Clippers can't compete with without Paul George. They have Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant all starting. Right there, those are 4. I don't want to say 4 superstars because that's not true. That's 2 superstars, 1 playoff performer in Chris Paul
Yeah.
and one of the top young centers in the NBA. That's a loaded starting five right
It
there.
really is. No,
Versus the
absolutely.
Clippers, who can go 12 deep. The Suns are probably in the playoffs only comfortable really with going 7 deep, maybe. Campaign off the bench. Maybe bring in an Ish Wainwright. They brought in Terrence Ross. And then you're going to have to play, my gosh, Jock Landale, as well as your backup center and Bismack Biyombo. So probably only really want to play 2 or 3 of those backups I named.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Clippers feel comfortable, like I said, running 7 bench players out there. You're going to have Batum, Marcus Morris, Eric Gordon, Terrence Mann, so many guys, Mason Plumlee, Robert Covington, that can run out there for the Clippers.
Yeah.
So what wins out? Because like you mentioned, the Suns are kind of at Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Devin Booker's mercy.
Yeah.
If one of the 4 of them, 2 of the 4 of them have stinkers, then the Clippers have so much depth that they can overcome even if 2 of them have superb games.
Yeah.
Which is another reason I think Clippers can take one. Ultimately, the 4 players that I mentioned for the Suns, maybe with the exception of DeAndre Ayton, are proven enough playoff performers and are consistent enough players that I don't doubt that they'll be very good the entire series. Kevin Durant especially. The Suns did have a softball schedule since they got Kevin Durant, so I'm not going to read too much into the 8 now. But I do think they win this in 5. My other things to watch for, I mentioned depth, is the bench scoring, which is why my X factor is Norman Powell. He averaged 17 points per game, 48% from the field, almost 40% from 3.
Yeah.
He's going to need to score equal to, I don't know, 3 of the Suns players, Josh Okogie and 2 bench players, I think, for them to have a chance, because obviously the Suns starting 5 is going to outscore the Clippers starting 5. You got Kevin Durant, you got Devin Booker. It's just simple math.
Yeah.
So Terrence Ross, or excuse me, not Terrence Ross, Norman Powell's going to have to make up for that difference a lot, I think, off the bench, combined with guys like Eric Gordon and Russell Westbrook. What type of punch can they bring? So bench scoring is my X factor, specifically Norman Powell. But we both agree Phoenix ultimately wins this in 5. Just too much talent.
Usually I would take depth, but I think in this situation that star power is just a little too much to overcome, especially missing one of your 2 superstars with Paul George.
And because they're missing one of their 2 superstars, let's not discount the fact that Paul George would be the other guy guarding Kevin Durant or Devin Booker.
Oh yeah, that's no question. Like this series would be a bit actually quite a bit more competitive if it was at full health, or even him just getting to play. I mean that's going to make somewhat of a difference, but it's just so uncertain that we just don't know at this point.
Seems unlikely that he's going to play. Both agree. Suns in 5. We'll move on to the next 4v5 series.
In the East,
which is my sleeper series for what I think could be the best series in the entire postseason.
I would agree. This might be the most fun. Like the most enthralled I'm going to be, and just from buzzer to buzzer, I'm just going to be into it, enjoying just this nice, fast paced, fun play. And yeah, that'll be the Cavs and Knicks series, which is poised to just be a lot of fun, regardless of who wins. So I started off with the last 4. Do you want to start off with how you feel about
Certainly. Cavs and Knicks? I'd love to start off with Cavs and Knicks because I've been hyping this up in our conversations off camera as this is, like I said, maybe my favorite playoff series. And I think my take on it is a little different than some of the other ones I've seen so far. I think the Knicks take this in 7. My what to watch for here is if you watched the last video, if you haven't watched it, watch it. Great video.
Yeah.
High quality, good takes. But if you watch that last video, one of my common themes in the underdogs being able to take games or off of a series is offensive rebounding, creating extra opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks are one of the top teams in the NBA at doing that. Mitchell Robinson is the best offensive rebounder in the league, and the Cavs are 26th in securing a defensive rebound. Fantastic defense, but not very good at ending the possession. Mm-hmm. Can the Knicks create extra opportunities? I know we think Jared Allen is a borderline all-star, but realistically, I think he and Mitchell Robinson are kind of a wash down low. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the size of Mobley. Mm-hmm. So you would think that the Cavs, how do they not get more rebounds? But guys like Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, like I mentioned, Randall, Brunson, Quentin Grimes, they all like to play on the boards a little bit, RJ Barrett as well. So if the Knicks are able to create extra opportunities, which I don't doubt they'll be able to because they've done it all season long, I think they'll, paired with their potent three-point shooting, especially with guys I mentioned like Grimes, those extra opportunities will just turn into too many points. You would be surprised to know that the Knicks have one of the best offenses all season long. We think of Tibbs teams as defensive-minded teams. Mm-hmm. But the Knicks hang their hat on offense this season. That's helped by having a lot of more opportunities than your opponents. So that's one of my things to watch for. And then the Cavs, like I said, great defense. But like most great modern defenses, they'll defend the three, they'll defend the paint, but they're willing to give up the mid range a little bit. That's where Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle love to operate.
Mhm.
Obviously, the Cavs will adjust to this. If I notice this, then I'm sure the Cavs scouts do as well, and they'll change their defensive schemes a little bit to try to mitigate that the mid-range prowess of Brunson and Randle. But still, they're not going to sacrifice their entire defensive identity to stop two players.
Yeah.
So I think Brunson and Randle could have very good high-scoring games just by operating in that mid-range area that the Cavs don't necessarily ignore, but keep on the back burner.
Yeah.
And then my X factor is going to be Quentin Grimes. Ended the season last 10 games shooting 48% from three. He's going to get open looks because Randle and Brunson, I assume, will draw double teams when they get into the paint, get into the mid range. You're going to be spraying it out to Grimes. And I think Barrett is kind of a no go in this series because the Cavs do guard the paint so well, and RJ Barrett's more of a slasher.
Yeah.
You're looking at someone to carry that weight, pick up from that slack. And I think that's going to be Quentin Grimes. And he's going to have the defensive assignment you'd assume on a Donovan Mitchell. So,
yeah.
Knicks in seven.
Knicks in seven.
Knicks in seven.
Okay. I actually have different approach. It's very similar, I feel like, to how we felt about the Kings Warriors series, which you can watch in the previous video that we made.
I heard that was a good video.
Yeah, no, I heard it was like one of the best. I mean, I heard it was a banger.
Yeah, but if you subscribe, then we're not going to tell you. You're going to have to watch it yourself.
Let's be honest. If you subscribe, you know every single video that's ever been produced in this channel.
So why not subscribe?
Yeah, so why not subscribe? Why do that to yourself?
Exactly.
Why bring that detriment to yourself by not watching our content? But anyways, I actually have Cavs in 6. Or again, like maybe I'll relent. 7 is also very possible. This is one of those series that I could very well see go to 7, but I believe the Cavs in 6. The X factor again is just I am looking at like Grimes is someone I was looking at, and then RJ Barrett, no contest, but also another X factor is Julius Randle because I mean there is a possibility that right now he is slated to play.
Right.
His very
if he
first
misses
game,
the game, it seems like it'll be maximum.
It's just what I'm worried about. Yeah, is not if he does play, yeah, he's still nursing his ankle injury, and so he's not going to be at 100%. And then you're dealing with, I think that's going to be bad down low at that 4 spot because you have Jared Allen and Mitchell Robinson are going to kind of X each other out. But then I mean Mobley with his versatility and his size down low is going to be able to thrive. I think if Julius Randle is either not playing or not at 100%, and I think that's going to be really hard for the Knicks to overcome in some aspects because then we also have to look. Both teams are going to do everything they can to stop Jalen Brunson and a Donovan Mitchell. So they're going to try their best to do double teams and negate both of those guys. Even though I know Donovan Mitchell especially is talented enough to get buckets regardless. And so I don't know, some things to look out for. Yeah, is the defense and the looks that Thibs is going to give to Mitchell and that the Cleveland Cavaliers coach is going to give to Brunson. So those two might be negated to some degree. I need to see a lot of bench and role players in the Knicks step up. I need to see Quentin Grimes do his thing. I need to see Hartenstein. I need to see these guys, and I do really hope that Barrett can do something and is not totally negated to your point like we think. Because this Cavs team is young, it's explosive, and it's absolutely loaded. And so I think the Cavs bench is going to step up. I need and depth and role players are going to step up. I need the Knicks to do the same to keep up with this. So this is a really interesting series because I do think in some aspects they match up very well. And so some things are going to be negated, and it's going to be whoever can find the cracks, whoever game plans better, because we're also looking at two very defensive-minded coaches with powerful offenses.
Right.
So with that all being said, I could see this going to 7, but my personal opinion, Cavs in 6. I do think Cavs take this series out. I think they are the better team.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick.
Let's go for it.
We know Donovan Mitchell likes to play against the Knicks because the Knicks were supposed to go out and get Donovan Mitchell, and they didn't. They went a different route. Obviously, it's paid off for them so far.
Yeah.
What would you guess is going to be Donovan Mitchell's points high in this series?
Points high.
Highest scoring game. What are we thinking?
I'm gonna go bold. I'm going to go very specific too. 57 points.
Okay.
And I'm going to call a game. You know what? I want to call an audible and be bold. Game 3 of this series,
right.
He would drop 57 points and 10 plus assists.
Wow. That's a crazy game. That's one of the best games of all time.
One of the best playoff games of all time. I have faith in Donovan Mitchell, even though in the past I've gotten flack for having him too high, but he's shown my man is a bucket getter
Yep.
and a superstar. So you know what? I have faith. Yeah, just stay tuned for Game 3. I know I am to see my prediction come to fruition.
I think I would go towards 50 as well. I'm going to say I think he has a 47 in
47.
game 3. I
That's right.
agree,
That's
game
fair.
3. Um, no matter what happens, it's going to be a fun series. And even
Yeah.
if Donovan Mitchell doesn't put up 40 or 50, he's still probably going to average about 30 throughout the entire series. He's just that good
He's
of a
that guy.
scorer.
He's that guy.
And then we haven't even brought up Emmanuel quickly. It'll be fun to see him come off the bench, see how he can spark that Knicks offense. And then he's one of the best bench defenders in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be a good matchup. See if he can come in and get Garland in crunch time minutes. I think the Knicks have a better closing lineup than the Cavs do. I like Quickly, I like Hart, then Grimes and Brunson and Randall. I think that 5 is better than the 5 that the Cavs can put out on the floor, but are defensively and a little bit of an offensive punch. So I also like the Knicks having advantages in close games, being able to close them out.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah.
So Knicks and 7. I'm sticking
7
with it.
Cavs and 6.
And then on to the last one that we know for sure as of this moment. Although,
as of a couple hours ago,
although on the TV we've got a few feet ahead of us, it looks like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander suffered a facial injury.
It looks like something happened to his
Thunder
eye.
Timberwolves game, and he's not currently on the court. So,
I would a towel over his eyes. So that's not promising.
I would say we'll keep you updated, but by the time this is uploaded, this will have already happened like 12 hours ago.
Yeah.
So we're not going to keep you updated. You'll already know by the time this is posted. But anyways, the last series that we know as of this moment is a definite series that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Is my favorite team, the Miami Heat. They snuck in there.
Yeah.
They snuck in.
I know you're so thrilled about that. You're going to say so many wonderful things about how that team.
I certainly am, and they snuck in against the Bulls for the opportunity to get swept. I mean, play the Milwaukee Bucks.
Let's just get right into that because this is the easiest one so far. Bucks and 4.
Okay,
that's pretty easy, especially after what I saw in the Hawks game and this Bulls game. Arguably, I don't even know if the Heat really deserved to win that one.
Uninspired.
Yeah, like it was pretty bad. And like the big problem with this series, I think, is just their Heat stars. Like I think we saw first and foremost, they're too inconsistent. Sure, Butler had a good game tonight, and sure, Bam dropped 17 rebounds. But we're talking about Giannis, Drew, Chris Middleton. We're talking about a deep bench. We're talking about
defensive player of the year.
Yeah, we're talking about defensive possible. I mean, it's just I mean, Brook Lopez down low. It's just I don't know. I don't like the consistency of the Miami Stars. Jimmy Butler's going to go out there and have a trash game, and then Bam will have a solid one. And it's almost like they'll flip flop, or they'll both just have trash games and try to rely on Max Strus to drop 30 like he did tonight, which is not going to happen consistently. Also, like, and the X factor I have for this series is on the Heat side. I need Tyler Hero to step up and have one of his best series ever if they even want to compete, which I don't even think to an extent is possible. But he's gonna need to be efficient from and lethal from the 3 like we know he can be, like he's shown in the past. It's just the Heat 3-point shooting was I think was pretty awful in this game. We just watched against the Bulls, so that can't happen again. And it's Giannis, one of the top 3 players in the league. I don't even think that's a question. It's just a well-run team. It's a deep team. They play defense hard. I believe they're the other team that is top 3 in both defense and offense. I think I listed, Celtics and Sixers, I think were the other 2 teams along with them. So I don't know. I think the Heat are too consistent and are too inconsistent rather on and like their bench pieces. I don't think it is also an old team. If you're going to have to rely on Kevin Love, Max Strus, and Gabe Vincent to win you games, especially against the Milwaukee Bucks team, a team that has won a championship in recent memory. It's just not a good look. And so congratulations to Heat fans. Congratulations to the Miami Heat organization for getting the opportunity to be absolutely demolished by this Milwaukee Bucks team. Made the playoffs for nothing. But I'm not even the Heat hater in this situation. So I'm going to pass the rock to my co-host, so to speak. Tell me what you think about this series. Is this as easy in your mind to determine as it is for me?
I don't know that it'll go only 4 games. I think sweeps aren't that common in the NBA. It doesn't feel like it. Last year there was only the 1 sweep, which was crazy that it happened to a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Still completely nuts to get my head around. But the Bucks are very good.
They are incredible. good.
I'm gonna go with the sweep. I am gonna go with
Okay.
the sweep. I think the Bucks
You
win
could
this
have gone with
series
the
in
gentleman's
four.
sweep. I know you were thinking about that.
I was thinking about that, but ultimately, here's what it comes down to. My what to watch for is the Heat are one of the smallest teams in the league.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
we saw them get eaten alive on the boards against the Hawks. The Bucks have even more size. Giannis is
Yes.
about 6'11", 7 feet. Brooks is 7 footer.
7 footer.
Bobby Portis, although small, undersized as a forward, comes in there and basically averages a double double off the bench. So we know he's playing down and low, getting boards. Drew Holiday's a big guard. The Bucks are going to absolutely destroy them, not only on the boards but inside. Bam Adebayo is their best matchup for Giannis Antetokounmpo, meaning one of their smaller guys in a Caleb Martin most likely is guarding Brook Lopez. That's easy money in the paint every single time. Drew Holiday's going to have a mismatch no matter who's guarding him,
Yeah.
whether it be a Strus or a Vincent or a Tyler Hero. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's more athletic than all three of those guys. You probably want to hide Hero on Grayson Allen. Kind of a wash matchup there. I
Yeah.
think Tyler Hero is a little bit overrated. Still better than Grayson Allen, but
That is true. Very much so.
defensively, Tyler Hero is not doing anything for me. And then again, that leaves one of our subpar defenders to have to guard Chris Middleton. So the Heat, they like to hang their head on defense. Eric Spoelstra will definitely come up with some sort of scheme, some sort of zones to try to hide or try to mitigate the difference
Yeah.
between the Bucks' offensive firepower and the lack of Heat defensive ability, at least in the 1v1. They'll try some creative junk defense to wall up on Giannis because they'll realize that they really only have one defender suited to guard Giannis.
And he's
But
going to eat. And if they somehow find a way to stop him, Brook Lopez and everybody else in that starting five is
yeah,
also going to eat.
and
So
it's gonna be foul trouble. Giannis just charging into the paint. The Bucks are fired up. They look like a team that's ready to go in and try to win it all. I don't see any team in the East beating them. Spoiler alert. And least of
I
all, the Miami
disagree, but
Heat.
yes, they are the biggest threat to the team. I think wins the East, but that might be a bit biased. Actually, it's incredibly
X
biased.
Factor, who cares? The Bucks are just
See, this
better.
is the thing. We're
They're
not
better
talking.
one through
The
five.
Bucks are not dealing with the Heat team of old that gave them so much trouble in the past. That matched up so well with them for whatever reason and caused them harm and just mentally destroyed them. This is an old Heat team that is getting worse. It is devolving, and even Spoelstra can't do much with his Heat team against his Bucks team. If they had convincingly. Heck, well, they wouldn't have had to play the Bulls. They beat the Hawks convincingly. If they had shown me more convincing play in the play-in tournament, then maybe I wouldn't have them getting absolutely swept, and maybe games of ending with Bucks up 25 plus on this team.
Yep.
This team currently just doesn't match up well with one of the best teams in the league. So unfortunately, there's not much hope for the Heat team, no matter what they do, truly. So that's pretty much the easiest one in my mind to determine.
Yep. So we both agree. Bucks get the sweep here in this series.
Yes, pretty much.
Good season, Heat fans. No other. And now for our last series to predict and to break down, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves facing off against the one-seeded Denver Nuggets. So, Nathan, first impressions, predictions, X factors, what to watch. What you thinking?
Very excited to talk about this. I actually have the Nuggets sweeping this Timberwolves team. It won't be as easy as the Bucks are about to sweep the Heat, like we talked earlier in this video. But and I probably have more faith in them to get a game somehow. But still, the reason is the Nuggets have been one of the most consistent and dominant teams in the NBA across conferences this whole year. And from what I've seen in the game against the Lakers, and then yes, they were able to overcome this Thunder team by a solid margin. But there's too many inconsistencies. The three ball was just awful tonight. And Edwards wasn't hitting Torian Prince. Nikhil Alexander Walker seemed to be the best player from deep tonight. Rudy Gobert is missing layups and like basically blocking and preventing himself, elbowing people in the eyes. Hope Shea's okay. Didn't deserve that. Cat's in foul trouble. I mean, the best player, I saw the most consistent player on this team that I watched was slow-mo Kyle Anderson, who also happens to be my X factor. Because losing Jalen McDaniels, he's not going to bring that. Kyle Anderson's not going to bring the same level, in my opinion, defensive prowess as Jaden McDaniels, because he's arguably. He's the best defender on that team. That's not arguable. He is the best defender on that team, and he did a stupid thing and broke his hand coming down to crunch time, a little too close to the postseason for me, in the freaking play-in game. And I mean, that's going to hurt him a lot. But he was the one that was facilitating and playmaking and scoring somehow. As slow as he is, he still finds ways to get to the basket and to finish strong. And so I think he's going to be crucial if they want to make this competitive against the Nuggets. But I think the Nuggets are a little too deep for them. I mean, we have an MVP candidate, once again, MVP candidate Nikola Jokic,
Yep.
best center in the league. Joel Embiid coming up closer though. Let's just say that future MVP. But yeah, I think this is a no brainer. I mean, what things we're gonna have to look for? The Timberwolves are gonna have to shoot that three ball well. They're gonna have to make layups, and also they had some issues from what I saw turnover wise, especially Ant Edwards was turning the ball over a little, and he's had a rough these two playing games. He's kind of been slow to get into his pace, so he's gonna need to step up and be a major key factor against the Nuggets because he's their star, their young star, and he needs to play like it in order to even be in competition with this Nuggets team because they're going to play hard and they got people that can score consistently. And he just seems like he's off to a very slow start, but I have faith that he'll turn it up at least somewhat. With that all being said, could I see the Timberwolves winning a game? Absolutely, they do have the talent, and they do play well. And so Nikhil Alexander Walker was actually a little more pressing tonight, a little more impressive to me tonight than I thought he would be when I saw him in the starting lineup. But at the end of the day, I think the Nuggets take this one in four pretty convincingly. Both one seeds I have being sweeps. What do you feel about this series? How are you feeling about the Nuggets and Timberwolves? Timberwolves coming in to this series. What are you thinking? What's on your mind?
I think that the series is 5 games.
Okay, that's fair.
Because we've seen that the Nuggets, they can get a little bored. Happened to them after the All-Star break. They get a little bored. They know that they're more talented than most teams. They've got one of the best players in the league leading their offense in Nikola Jokic. They've got elite shooters all around. They've got good defenders. And when you have that much talent, especially when you're playing a team that's not terribly good in the Timberwolves, it's easy to get bored. I see them going up 3-0, probably maybe 2-0, winning both games at home.
Not
And then
closing
just
that
and then
fourth
just
game.
getting tired, just getting bored, and letting the Timberwolves squeak one in. Anthony Edwards maybe goes off because they're trying a little bit harder than the Nuggets, and they're able to get one down. I think that's very likely to happen. That's something that hopefully doesn't happen if you're one of the people that's looking for the Nuggets to make a deep run. You want to see that intensity from game 1 to game 4. But I do think that the Nuggets will have a lull at some point, a game 3 or a game 4, where the Timberwolves just try a little bit harder and able to squeak out a win because they do have talent and Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns
and Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert. Mike Conley's been playing well, and he's a veteran, of course. So I think they do win one game. What to watch for? It's going to be interesting. These teams play very differently, very stylistically. We've got the Nuggets who are more on the perimeter, and we've got the Timberwolves who are trying to play like it's 1962. They got Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, and they're packing the paint. They've kind of tried to force Cat onto the perimeter. And offensively, that's all fine and dandy, but defensively, Aaron Gordon is the complete opposite of a Karl Anthony Towns, and that Aaron Gordon is a true stretch four who can take you off the dribble. And it's going to be interesting because a lot of the Nuggets game is handoff and running around screens. So it'll be weird to see Karl Anthony Towns have to do that because I'm assuming he's going to be the one chasing somebody. He's either going to be chasing Kentavious Caldwell Pope or Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr., certainly not Jamal Murray. That would be a terrible idea. But either way, no matter who he's guarding, we're going to see Karl Anthony Towns get worked on defense a little bit. And possibly that leads to Rudy Gobert being played out the game because if you're going to have one of them, you're going to want to have the offensive threat, I think, in Karl Anthony Towns. So I'm interested to see what Chris Finch does to try to hide Karl Anthony Towns because defensively it's going to be a nightmare. The Nuggets have too many good perimeter shooters, even when they bring them in off the bench, like a Jeff Green. That Karl Anthony Towns, I fear, may be a little exposed. And if not him, Rudy Gobert, leading to Rudy Gobert having to take some minutes off the bench. And if that happens, then Jokic and Karl Anthony Towns is a complete mismatch. Jokic is simply too good, too strong for Karl Anthony Towns. So I'm interested to see, like I said, how Chris Finch responds to that, how he tries to defend those Nuggets actions, a lot of handoffs, a lot of horns set with multiple ball screens and off ball screens. So the Nuggets want teams to play them straight up. And that's what the Timberwolves are going to have to do. They can't switch on those ball screens, on those off ball screens. So this is going to play perfectly into how the Nuggets want to run their offense.
Okay.
So I think Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert are going to just look completely lost out there, either getting abused by Jokic or just getting run around off of screens. That being said, I know I'm talking this up like the Nuggets are going to kill them, but like I said, I still do think the Timberwolves win one game because the Nuggets simply get bored.
Yeah,
Uh,
get a little too complacent.
yeah, but overall, I see the series being a pretty easy dub for the Nuggets,
Yeah, me too.
and I'm looking forward to a hopeful Nuggets Suns second round. That'll be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's most likely. Those are the only two teams I could really see battling for that final spot in the Western Conference.
Yep,
Me personally, so, and I guess you agree.
I agree.
And I'm sure most of the NBA community would also agree with that for the most part.
I would assume so.
I
So,
would hope so.
not much else to add. We both think the Nuggets win this series pretty convincingly.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think it takes five, you think it takes four.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. No matter what happens, you know that debate mate late night Nate, and debate mate Matthew will be here to discuss it, be here to break it down. And I know Coach Z expressed interest in coming on a playoffs debate
Oh,
mate.
absolutely.
So
Let's go.
you're really gonna want to subscribe to see debate mate Coach Z as well. So we're gonna have some fire content lined up for you come playoff time. Well, this is playoff time.
Yep.
So starting now, we're gonna have some fire content, some more fire content than normal.
It's the postseason, baby. Let's get ready
We
to
all
roll.
gotta up our game. It's unfair for us to expect Kevin Durant to up his game and for us to not up
Exactly,
our
and
games in response.
to stay complacent.
Exactly.
And get too comfortable.
Exactly. Can't get too comfortable around here. We gotta up our game. It's postseason time.
I just can't believe it's the first round already.
I know.
First round of the playoffs. We're gonna have some great matchups, great games. Super excited. The best time of the year if you're an NBA fan, regardless if your team is in the running for it or not.
Yep.
I think personally. So, yep, very excited. Hope you guys are excited for the first round of the playoffs.
This is where legends are made, both
yeah.
on the blacktop and on the YouTube.
Yep.
And it's time for us to stake our claim.
Do we have new NBA champions this year? Possibly. It's looking like
one.
Nope.
So a lot of interesting storylines yet to play out in the postseason. Like I said, we'll be here discussing every single one of them. But until next time, see you guys.
Bye, guys.